Hello friends, already I have discussed what are the researches are going on related to IoT in healthcare. Okay, for any kind of the health IoT device, you need the some sensor. Sensor along with the sensor and connectivity. These two are the most important components for IoT. Okay, and if you want to make any kind of the IoT device, right? So for that, normally today I will discuss what are the sensors are normally designed for building a IoT device, which is whatever IoT device you are making. This is mainly used for the healthcare application. There are the lots of IoT devices already designed and research are going on related to IoT sensor. So what kind of the IoT sensor you can build for applications? Okay, for IoT healthcare applications, right? So normally, if you think about the healthcare, what are the main components are, what are the parameters are mainly we used to, these are the most important parameter, most vital parameter, okay? So here, what we can tell normally, suppose here, uh, first is the, what are the parameter, mainly the vital, first is the pulse rate, pressure, blood oxygen level, okay, respiratory function, respiratory functions, okay, and then these are the main important parameter, and body temperature. This is the main important parameter if you think about any kind of the disease, okay. Normally the blood pressure, pulse, okay, pulse rate also related to blood pressure, okay. So pulse rate, pulse rate, from the pulse rate what kind of disease may come, right? Cardiac attack, cardiac attack, this mainly come from blood pressure, also same thing, cardiac attack, and the neuro problem is also come related to uh, blood pressure, okay. And blood oxygen, that is also related to respiratory. If respiratory function is not working properly, so that we can calculate from the oxygen level, okay. And body temperature, for body temperature normally fever, okay, normally fever, heat stroke, this can do the vital sign, okay. If the body temperature is not accurate, okay, and if the body temperature is not accurate, this is the one of the thing. And apart from that, the blood rate, pulse rate, from the pulse rate, if pulse rate is not uniform, you will get a cardiac attack. And the blood oxygen is level is not proper and not accurate, you will get some, you will have the some respiratory problem, okay, respiratory function problem, right? So now the one point, that is what kind of the sensor we can use for measuring this thing, because so how can you design the IoT in healthcare, okay. Normally you have to design those sensor, and this sensor is mainly related to related to IoT device, okay. Normally the sensors are directly will get some health parameter from this sensor, okay. And this sensor that will be transferred into the hospital management or hospital professional, okay. They will directly check those data. This I have already discussed in the last lecture, okay. They will directly check those data, and accordingly they will react, okay. What kind of the medication, what kind of the action required for a particular patient, okay. So for the measuring the pulse rate, okay. So now first we come to the pulse rate, okay. Pulse rate that can be measured, from from different, you can use the pulse rate sensor in different location of body, okay. Wherever you can use a pulse rate, wrist, chest, okay, earlobe, fingerprint, okay. right? So pulse rate, so these are normally wearable, most wearable device. We can design wearable device if you want to put those sensor in our wrist and the chest. Okay, and these are not too much wearable, not too much, these are not too much wearable. Okay, so wrist and chest, if you may make a device pulse rate sensor which can put on the wrist or chest, these are the most wearable and you can get a most accurate data from if you put those device on the chest and the pulse. Okay, but in case of the earlobe and fingerprint, you cannot use those, you will not get the too much accurate data, because if you put any kind of the device, this should be wearable. Okay, this should be too much wearable, right? So this in this location you can put the pulse rate, right? Suppose now I think about the wrist. Okay, I'll tell about the wrist. So normally wrist, this is your wrist. Okay, and inside you have the artery. Okay, this will have the artery, right? So in this pulse rate sensor, okay, in this pulse rate sensor, okay, you will have the one LED, one PD. PD means photodiode, LED is light emitting diode, and PD is photodiode. Okay, both are related to light only. So okay, right. So so one, the light will be transmitted on the artery. Light will be transmitted on the artery. So this kind of the device already published, already developed by some research groups. Okay, so the LED that is transmitting the light, okay, onto the artery. Okay, so artery. So and whatever light is transmitting onto the artery, so entire amount of the light will not be absorbed by the artery. Okay, some light will be reflected from the artery, and this light will be detected at the photodiode. Okay, so the whatever light is transmitting and whatever light is getting from the photodiode, okay, these both are different. So the change in the light, the change in the power, the change in the signal, okay, from the change in the signal we can get a, we can determine the pulse rate variation. Okay, pulse rate variation from signal degradation. Why the signal degradation? Because some signals will be absorbed by the artery and some will be reflected from the artery, that will be detected from at photodiode. Okay, so this is so so from the this signal variation you will get a pulse rate variation, right? Pulse rate can be determined, right? So such kind of the pulse rate we already published. Okay, flexible pulse rate and high accuracy pulse rate sensor already published. Okay, but if the person is in motion, okay, is there there will be movement, okay, for a person, okay, you cannot get a accurate pulse rate variation. So there will be pulse rate variation. Okay, so you will not get the accuracy of that pulse rate. So for that accelerometer is used if there is a movement, to accelerometer calculate the movement of the person. Okay, so from this movement of the person, pulse rate accuracy can be calculated, right? So this is about the pulse rate sensor. Now come to the and pulse rate. So pulse rate sensor you can use. So this technology, this is the LED photodiode. Okay, so LED and photodiode. Okay, so this technology is called as a PPG sensor. Okay, PPG sensor. You can design the pulse rate sensor by using the pressure, RF sensor and the ultrasound sensor. Okay, so the PPG sensor that I have already discussed, the LED and PD consist of LED and PD. Now come to the pressure. So this main topic, two topics I am going to discuss. This I have discussed and this I come to discuss now. RF and ultrasound sensor they also you can design by using the for pulse rate measurement. Okay, so this is called the PPG sensor. Now come to the pressure sensor. How the pressure measure the pulse rate variation. Okay, how the pressure measure the pulse rate variation. Okay, So pressure sensor. Now come to the pressure sensor. Okay, so these also you can put on the wrist, right? You can also put on the wrist. Pressure sensor also you can put on the wrist only. Okay, so in case of the pressure sensor, they are also can pressure. Normally, if you don't use the pressure sensor, if you come to the doctor, so how they can measure the pulse rate? Okay, by in concept of the pressure sensor. Normally, they put their finger on the arm. Okay, here they put their finger. Okay, so you can so some deflection will be there from the pulse. Okay, so due to the deflection, and this deflection will be detected by the finger. Okay, so based on the deflection, they can measure the pulse rate variation. Now, so by using the same concept, the pulse rate sensor can be designed. Okay, so here the wrist, you can see the wrist. Okay, so the pressure sensor. Okay, this is connected here. So you bend. Okay, is here. Normally, so whatever thing is there. Okay, blood is flowing. Okay. Okay, so here the pulse can be measured with the pulse. So from there, from the band, you can measure the pulse. Okay, so this pulse will give a force here. Okay, this is the, you can see here. So this is your wrist. Here band is present. Okay, and the from the band pulse will be pulse give a force towards the sensor. Okay, pulse give a force towards the sensor, and this force will be detected by the pressure sensor. Okay, so that means whatever force variation, if there is a variation in the force, okay, this force, okay, this is the force graph. Okay, this variation in the force that will be detected by the pressure sensor. From the variation in the force, you will get a variation of the pulse rate. Okay, you will get the variation of the pulse rate. Okay, in this way you can design a pressure sensor for measuring the pulse rate variation. So for pressure sensor also flexible, highly accurate pressure sensor already published. Okay, by the research group, and this is already commercialized. Pressure sensor and the PPG sensors these are commercialized. Okay, so these are the most important sensor which can be used for the IoT device, right? So the force will come from the vent, and this force will be detected by the pressure sensor, and from the pressure sensor, so variation in the force that will give the variation of the pulse rate. Okay, this is about the pressure sensor. Now come to the oximeter sensor, which gives the oxygen level. Pulse oximetry sensor. Okay, which gives the blood oxygen level. Okay, which measures the blood oxygen level. Okay, blood oxygen level, this I told, this is gives a sign of the respiratory function. If the respiratory function is properly working or not. So from the blood oxygen level you can calculate. During COVID, lots of people used the pulse oximetry sensor for measuring the oxygen level. Okay, so during COVID, right? So this is also one kind of the IoT sensor for using the IoT device. Okay, so for pulse oximetry sensor, this concept is similar to the pulse PPG sensor. Okay, so pulse oximetry sensor sense the oxygen level, variation of the oxygen level by transmitting the PPG signal. Okay, this is based on the PPG sensor only. Okay, so in this case also you can put on the finger. So this is your finger. Okay, so here how can you put the PPG sensor that will be designed like this way? The LED will be two way you can design. LED will be on the top of the finger, and PD will be the bottom of the finger, or you can put like this also. LED and PD both will be the bottom of the finger. Okay, so here okay, here also blood is flowing. Okay, so normally the hemoglobin level. Okay, hemoglobin Hemoglobin is normally used to absorb the light. Okay, so the hemoglobin is flowing through the so inside the blood. The hemoglobin is also there. Hemoglobin is flowing through your finger. Okay, that means so here some light is transmitting into the blood, and the hemoglobin is not accepted entire blood, entire light. Okay, not accepted entire light. Okay, some light will be reflected. Okay, transmitted. Some light, here the concept is some light will be transmitted and that will be detected by the photodiode. Here what is the phenomena? So some light is transmitting and reflected. Okay, here it is passing through the hemoglobin. Okay, not totally absorbed by the hemoglobin, it is passing through the hemoglobin. This light, the passing light will be absorbed by the photodiode. Okay, in this concept. Okay, right. So the whatever light is transmitting here and whatever light is getting from the photodiode, this variation will give the change in, if there is a change in the hemoglobin. Okay, so there is a suppose one kind of the this suppose 10 ampere, so 10 watt milliwatt light is passing. Okay, if there is constant hemoglobin, so suppose 9 milliwatt current is absorbed by the photodiode. If there is a change in the hemoglobin level, so 8 milliwatt power will be absorbed by the photodiode. Okay, so this variation will give the oxygen level or the change in the oxygen level, right? So here also same phenomena, it is reflective phenomena, transmitting and reflecting. Here only the transmitting phenomena, right? So this is also based on the PPG sensor, right? So in this you can design the pulse oximetry center. Whatever light is hemoglobin is not if there is a change in the hemoglobin, so the change in so there will be change in the absorption of the light by the hemoglobin. Okay, so due to this change you can calculate the pulse blood oxygen level. Okay, next is the body temperature. So body temperature, I am not drawing any diagram, so I am just discussing body temperature. Okay, next is the body. Next is the body temperature. Okay, for body temperature, you have to what kind of the heat stroke and fever. These are the most vital sign for body temperature. If the body temperature is more. Okay, for the body temperature, you have to use some kind of the sensor, temperature sensor, which can measure the your human body whatever temperature is there for human bodies. This kind of the range can be detected by the sensor. So earlier the thermistor is normally used by the okay. Thermistor is normally used by the many professional health professional. Now in different research group they have designed the positive temperature coefficient sensor and negative temperature coefficient sensor. Okay, this will give the highly accurate data, right? And so nowadays normally all the sensor are designing, these are based on the wearable sensor. Okay, so such kind of the temperature sensor, positive or negative. Okay, both kind of the sensor normally designed based on the thin and polymer, which is flexible only. Okay, so there will be the polymer based substrate or flexible substrate where you can design the temperature sensor. One device you have to design which can detect the temperature, which will give the some voltage output, right? So this is normally used to design on the flexible substrate. First substrate means where you are designing your device. Okay, this is the base of the device. Okay, so the base of the device should be flexible, which can easily put on the wrist. Okay, on your body, and which can easily detect the body temperature, whatever temperature is normally there for body. Okay, so and now and other research group, they have published the one kind of they have invented one kind of the temperature sensor which is embedded on the textile. Okay, which is embedded on the textile. Remember, you can put a sensor on the on cloth from the whatever cloth you are wearing. So if you wear some kind of the cloth, so from in they directly measure the body temperature. Or if you put suppose belt, okay, where fitness belt, where which is very much flexible, where you can put the temperature sensor, it can easily detect the body temperature, right? So whatever the temperature sensor is normally designing nowadays, these are more flexible and more giving the accurate body temperature, right? So these are about all the temperature, all the sensor which can use for the healthcare for IoT device. So please like, share and subscribe my channel.